He kōna I purangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Nau mai ki te hōtaka o In Case You Missed It. Ko tāne tōku ingoa, I hope you've had a good week. Time to tahuna te ahi, to ignite the fire and empower you with knowledge. Now here's a quick look at what's been going on around the globe and here in Aotearoa. Popular fast food giant with the Golden Arches is in the news after more than 300 children were found working at McDonald's restaurants across Kentucky and several other states, which is in violation of labour laws. In one case, investigators found two 10-year-olds working unpaid shifts as late as 2 a.m. at a McDonald's in Louisville. The two children prepared and distributed food orders, cleaned the store, worked the drive-through window, and operated a register. The employers face fines with an estimated combined total of nearly 230,000 New Zealand dollars. Now, are you hanging out for the latest installment of your favourite American TV series? Well, you might be waiting a bit longer. More than 10,000 Hollywood screenwriters have gone on strike, and without them, production on many TV shows and movies will grind to a halt. The writers say their pay is getting smaller while studio profits are soaring.
We're, I think asking for very fair compensation, and basically the studios laughed at us.
The last strike in 2007 lasted 3 months. Now, across the ditch, the Australian government has cracked down on the sale of vapes in a bid to reduce rising use by teens. Soon, vapes will only be sold in pharmacies and will need pharmaceutical-type packaging. The Australian Health Minister, Mark Butler, says up until now, the product designs have been specifically targeted at kids.
They have pink unicorns on them. They are bubblegum flavoured. These are not therapeutic products marketed at adults.
Currently, the New Zealand government has no plans to make the same changes. To sport now, it was an emotional moment for Mea Motu when she claimed the win in a historic headline bout for Fight for Life this week.
I'm shining and glowing and doing something I love and that I'm passionate about. I'm so happy.
And another wahine toa taking on the world is the one and only Ruby Tui, who announced that her 6-month sabbatical playing in the Premier Rugby Sevens competition stateside, a multi-event tournament where men and women compete on equal pay, was non-negotiable for her if the Black Ferns wanted her back.
If NZR didn't support me with the sabbatical, I wouldn't be able to play for the best team in the world, the Black Ferns. This is a really, really important way to keep our next generation of superstars in our country.
Luckily for us, she'll be back with the Black Ferns for the end-of-year tests. Activism often appears in the headlines. This week alone, an activist was killed in Laos after criticism of communist authorities, while another activist glued himself to a podium during a live electoral debate in Switzerland. But what is activism exactly? Well, check this out.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school.
It's Greta Thunberg.
On the other side of the ocean. Yet, you all come to us young people for hope.
And she is an activist. An activist is someone who speaks out when they think something is wrong, unfair, and wants to create change.
Excuse me?
The act of standing up and speaking out is called protesting. Greta protests against climate change and all things that are damaging our planet, like toxic chemicals, plastics, and carbon pollution. Activists protest for lots of different reasons, including equal rights for everyone, to stop cruelty to animals, and to get fair wages for the work that they do.
From kindergarten to secondary school, teachers have been
Historically, the most effective way to protest is by peaceful protest. In Aotearoa, one of our best-known peaceful protests was the 1975 hikoi led by Māori activist Dame Whina Cooper.
Whina was protesting the confiscation of Māori lands and the government's disregard of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Her peaceful protest march started out from Te Hāpua in the far north with 50 people. By the time Whina had arrived in Wellington 1,000 kilometres later, her 50 followers had swelled to 5,000, and 60,000 people had signed her petition, which was handed to then Prime Minister Bill Rowling.
You will find that your march is not in vain.
The hikoi brought the issue of Māori land rights into the public forum like never before, and played a huge part in highlighting the ongoing inequality Māori experience in society. So remember, if it wasn't for activists like Dame Whina Cooper, women wouldn't be able to vote, same-sex couples couldn't get married, and Aotearoa wouldn't be nuclear-free.
Well, that is in case you missed it for this week. Thank you for joining us. If anything on today's show has sparked your interest, do jump online and do a little bit more research. We will be back at the same time next week. Have a great weekend. Ka kite anō.